7mm Backcountry. Have you heard of that yet, Jake?
Yeah, I just prepped my team about it yesterday before all the calls started.
I will say that good job on Federal in one aspect. It's damn, dude, you hoarded the shit out of that thing.
You hoarded out.
Oh my goodness. It was every swinging Richard in this influencer fucking companies that had a piece of the pie, I guess, or had steak, which I find interesting is all, yeah, we put up on Instagram yesterday. Do you have any questions about
this? This is more questions than I would even get like on my question days for unknown. Like it's massive. I did read one. One guy even asked like, how much can Ryan bench with them little bitch arms? Where's it go?
We're going to find out.
It said on here. Oh, here's what. Is it gayer than AIDS?
Oh, no, I don't think it's gayer than AIDS.
Oh, there's all. Anyways, we got lots to talk about it.
And there's just a bunch of fucking tofu eating, fucking man bun wearing dorks and no pussy at all. Yeah.
Hold it up, baby! Is he down? Is he a big one? Is he down? Trying to get the damn shot.
Bullshit, man. Look at the thing. 4 more shorts. Yeah. That sack's fucking hanging out. Don't let us doubt the fucking 6mm. Shoot him, shoot him. All right, hold on. Let's go.
Let's go. Those fucking Amish would have shot that motherfucker.
Got a face only mother can love. That's great. Yeah, I don't know. Unless you live under a rock in the outdoor industry, Federal announced a rifle cartridge, or they announced a cartridge, but had a lot of freaking rifle companies that already were on board.
I think it's hilarious because I think that Ryan likes to talk shit just about for the point of talking shit a little bit. And this is nice on the podcast because we can sit here. We're not sponsored or we're not a review company or we're not anything like that. We build rifles and we look after our customers and such. So we can be truth sayers, at least what we think is the truth.
I want to put this out there at the beginning of this whole podcast. I hope this is an awesome thing for Federal.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah. It could be.
It really could be, but I have some doubts.
We're going to speak from history. Not really. I would not say experience. There's a little bit of experience because you brought the Sig Fury in here that you were shooting.
Mm-hmm.
But I did quite a bit of research last night and this morning just on the history of steel cases. And obviously this is not the first venture with a steel case.
No.
It was started by Germany in World War I. They were the first ones to experiment with steel cases because brass was in such short supply as a fancy metal. Steel was everywhere. So to make more ammo, they tried to figure out how to do it. And long story short, it's much more expensive.
So 1914.
Dude, we're talking. So World War I, Germany. Yes.
Damn.
First ones to make steel cased ammunition out of necessity in war.
What's funny to me before we go any farther is when we decided yesterday we're going to do this, the way we go different ways.
I told you I did the background on steel casings.
Yeah.
You did your part, which is you know people in the industry, you call people and get real feedback on this actual situation. Me, I'm like, this is not the first time steel cases have been attempted, so why has it never caught on before? What is the problem? So I went through to research all the issues with steel cases from their innovation in World War I until now. And again, they didn't develop a steel case ammo because it was going to be some badass round and then it caught on and everything is steel. So why did it stop? Why aren't all rifle cartridges steel today? That's the question you should be asking yourself. Oh, all of a sudden did Federal come out with this fucking peak alloy case technology? Like they reinvented steel that somebody couldn't figure out for the last 110 fucking years since World War I? Like, no. That's not what happened.
What happened?
Well, I'm just saying that's not some new fucking. I'll go through I'll go through everything that I researched and all the reasons why steel is not as good as brass, and there are reasons why steel is better than brass too in some scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
But I ran across a lot of obviously forum talk is crazy since they announced it, and some people knew about it long before others, and everybody has their method of shit talking. I don't think that we were, and I agree with you, dude. If like there's a new steel that knife blades are made out of, and a guy was bringing it up. I forget the fucking name of it, but it's It's the newest steel for a blade, and it filled a niche on the edge holding retention versus hardness versus whatever. Like they actually created a new steel alloy that filled a niche in the knife blade market, and it was fantastic. So similarly, like you said, if somebody came out with this new brass alloy or new steel casing and all of a sudden it was the shit and made everything 100 feet per second faster, everybody would be happy.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a large industry to reinvent the fucking brass case from the start.
Has there, I really don't know this answer, outside of the Fury is really the only, it's a hybrid steel brass case. Was there any mainstream, I do not remember any mainstream outside of like SKS shit, fucking Russian ammo for SKS. Was there any steel ever offered in mainstream hunting?
I don't think it's entered the rifle world. There are a few here and there, but it's heavy in the pistol / I would guess I'd call AR cartridge type of world.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can go on and look at ammoseek.com and it actually has a column for whether it's steel or brass cases, for that ammo. And steel is frowned upon because of its reloadability.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't want to go collect a bunch of steel cases at the range and try to sell them for reloads. Basically, people don't want them.
Right.
So it's generally looked at as, and I will say this, they can be reloaded, but there are a lot of issues with reloading them. There's issues with just manufacturing the steel case on the start. It is hard on all tooling. So if you take, this actually would have been a great question for Greg and Marlon,
mm-hmm.
if they know anything about making steel cases, but I would imagine it's something like 10 to 20 times harder on tooling, which means that you would have to replace it 10 to 20 times more often, on your production line.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever Federal's doing to produce those cases, they're to me, they're creating, I hate to use the word FUD. I'm not that type of guy, but they're creating
never heard of that term.
This is a production rifle factory ammo shooting world.
Yes.
Where this cartridge lives. It doesn't live in custom rifles. It doesn't live with the reloader. It doesn't live with the custom anything. Like the market that we're in, it's not really for us, so I guess that's why we can talk shit.
Right.
But I think there is a market for it.
I agree.
As long as the rifle's built to handle the pressure, like to me, the 80,000 PSI pressure. And first of all, for those of you that don't know, it's not even SAMMI approved.
How would it be? They'd have to change the bar from that 65,000 PSI.
Yeah, so you guys got to realize that everything that's been manufactured, rifle actions, suppressors, muzzle brakes, barrel thicknesses need to be able to handle more pressure. Like there are all these things that the rifle world has been constructing around out of a max of 65,000 PSI.
Right.
So things actually have to change. So I think it was Seekins that just said that they are redesigning their action to be able to handle. They have to redesign the action to be able to handle that cartridge.
Yeah, in the when I called around, because I knew this cartridge was coming. I didn't know exactly. I knew it was steel. I didn't know what it was though. I didn't know 7. Anyways,
that's the other shit talking. Is Federal made it like this?
Yeah,
we just reinvented the ammunition industry and then came out with a steel case one cartridge.
And what the companies I called either make bullets or they pretty much all make rifles. Everybody I talked to, and the funny part is what they portrayed online and what they told me, which not the same. Outside of Altera, I have to say, if there's one video to watch, go watch Altera's. They told the whole picture, and I think they did a really good job.
They did list out a list of manufacturers that are going to be chambering, and of course, Gunworks was on there.
Yep. And
what I don't understand how Altera ended up in that bunch. I don't see them as a production rifle manufacturer.
No, I see them as a boutique custom rifle manufacturer.
Yes.
I see you more mainstream rifle builder than I do them.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, doesn't matter. I like those guys, but I think Todd did a great job of explaining it. But to all 4 companies, and they're very known companies that I talked to, they all said the same thing. And I never really thought about this until they said it off of this case. So this military case, and I may have my dates wrong, but the SIG 277 Fury, hybrid steel case, it's half steel, half brass. And the solicitation, I'm imagining that Federal was in at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
With this solicitation with their brass.
Could have been.
The hybrid brass case against their pure alloy, or whatever they call their new case.
Yep.
So you're going to tell me, and this was brought up to me by all 3 of the 4, they were probably doing that, dabbling in that in 2021, maybe before. I'm sure they were putting millions of dollars into each SIG, and I'm sure Federal put millions of dollars into this. And you're telling me that it's now 2025. You started this before 2021, and we still don't have a way to reload this gun, reload this bullet.
So verbatim, let me see, I wrote this out. Reload. So this is on Federal's website for the 7mm Backcountry. Reloading the innovative peak alloy cases requires strict adherence to lab-tested processes and data. Keep an eye out for specs and tooling. So I found two other places this was listed that RCBS is the one manufacturing the dies. And RCBS reports that die development has stalled due to taking up to 12 passes to resize the casing back to spec. 12 passes per piece.
Holy shit.
So then there was all these memes where a dude had this big ass right arm where he's been just pulling where he's been pulling his press lever. Then the other one had a press lever that was like fucking 12 feet long to be able to get it into the.
Dude, that is okay. But I would say the vast majority of plug and play, like the Hornady PRC line, is built off of buy our ammo, shoot it. And I think that's the avenue that Federal's trying to go down with it.
Yes, but then, on the PRC side, you can still reload that brass
easily.
Yes, and not that we're going to say Hornady brass is the best on the market. It's definitely not, but you do have the ability to reload easily with normal tooling that's available on the market.
And I would say for our consumer, shoot to hunt, unknown consumer, that's a fucking problem. And again, it goes back to a person that I called. You're never going to be able to reload this fucking thing. That's from them. You can't anneal it. They already said you cannot anneal this case.
Yeah, annealing. I went down a little bit of a dive on that. Basically, they are heating up those steel cases to form them in the first place. So those of you that don't understand annealing, we've done several podcasts with ADG, and it's been explained. But basically, throughout the whole cartridge, for those of you on the camera there, you want this to be really hard and this to be really soft, and not in and then it's not really a gradient. It's hard all the way through these walls, the case walls, all the way till you get to the shoulder area. At which point it starts to soften into the shoulder and the neck. You can't do that the same way with steel. You can't vary the amount of hardness from case head to the nose, to the neck area. So I don't know. There's a lot in here I got about reloading.
Let's hear some.
Okay, let me see.
I'll talk a little bit about if the 277 Fury case was the way, it would already be mainstream. If that was the way we were going to go and that was the best way.
Well, this will tell you right here. In 1973, Remington Arms filed a patent simply on steel rifle cases and how they're made.
When? What year?
1973.
Wasn't even born yet.
But if you think about it, as we go through this, starting in World War I, they started to do these cases out of steel, out of necessity because of brass shortages and the worldwide need for ammo at that time. So you progress all the way from, and I'm not a history buff, so I couldn't tell you when World War I started. Let me Google it here. One of you guys are in your car listening right now. You're like, it's 1911, motherfucker. Here we go. World War I start date.
I think it's 1914.
1940, dude, kudos.
1914,
got you a Diet Coke.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Me and
July 28th, 1914. So during the start of that World War I, obviously they were, heavy ammo needs for war, and they started doing the steel casings deal. And then I didn't do everything. I didn't do a deep dive on the whole timeline, but let's just scoot forward to 1973, at which time Remington Arms tried to corner the market on steel casings by filing a patent on how they're made.
There's a problem there.
Yeah. So all of the power that Remington Arms had back then, they still couldn't figure it out.
I wonder if Greg was involved, because he's involved with everything.
Dude, it could have been.
ADG.
Prior to this invention of brass cases, cartridge cases have generally been manufactured from brass because they've been only metal satisfactorily meeting the requirements of ammunition components in regards to cost, shaping, strength, corrosion resistance, and extractability from a gun. So those were all the main reasons why you went with brass and not steel. And again, this is from the wording in the patent from Remington. Brass has many disadvantages, among which are the tendency towards stress, corrosion, cracking, the tendency to react or cause the primers or powder contained therein to become unstable, and steadily increasing cost. The whole primer and powder being unstable, that's never happened here. I mean, we've had ammo sit on the shelf for 5 or 10 years and still be able to shoot it in brass cases. So I don't know where that came from. Yeah, I mean, everything's going to increase in cost as time goes on. So that's kind of weird. And then stress corrosion cracking. You know, we go over how to reload for them, you know, to get the most available reloads from your brass by annealing the necks and so on. So, I mean, ADG brass, you can get 20 reloads out of it just simply by annealing every firing and not sizing the brass down too much smaller than your chamber size. You know, don't work the brass too much. So everything they just said that was bad about brass is not really bad about brass, in my opinion. But all those things that are bad about steel are definitely bad about steel.
What's interesting is I had one of those in my shooting bag, and holy crap, it got super corroded where the hybrid case met the brass met the steel. It got super rusted right there.
You can even see, yeah, you can see it for sure.
Go ahead.
For this reason, many attempts have been made to manufacture cartridge cases from other materials. One of the most popular has been steel. Because steel does not work harden to the extent that brass does, and that's not a good sign. Work hardening means that as the brass moves, it does get harder, but what it's saying is steel does not move as much or as easily, which when you're trying to resize the casing, that's not a good sign.
No. You said 12 passes earlier.
This is what's reported from RCBS right now. Prior art methods have used steel having a sufficiently high carbon content to provide the hardness and strength required for a cartridge case. So now what I was reading is that their new alloy has a really low carbon content to make the steel softer, but that comes with its own issues, the low carbon content. Height, okay. However, this hard steel caused unacceptably high tool wear, with the result that this manner of cartridge case manufacturing was found to be impracticable. Low carbon steel should be used for cartridge case manufacturing without the excessive tool wear caused by high carbon steels. However, the low strength and poor recovery characteristics of the resulting cartridge cases rendered them unsafe and unacceptable for use. This is word for word from the patent from Remington. Thus, prior to this invention, no satisfactory method of manufacturing an acceptable steel cartridge case has been devised. 1973.
There could be some improvements in there. So, I mean, they could have a much more malleable steel.
Yeah, so you started the podcast off right. If they come up with some magic fucking steel alloy that revolutionizes the industry by allowing it, and basically when we say revolutionize, we basically mean that 15,000 additional PSI is going to give you 100 to 150 feet per second more bang inside the same size case.
Right.
Which is basically a plus P. So
it is.
Yeah.
You're interested you bring that plus P thing up because a guy on Rockslide I was reading, he brought up an interesting point, and it was Brown Juror 300 rum. He said if it's not reloadable, you could do the same thing with brass. Take, for instance, Jake's 300 rum. It's one shot brass life because basically that's what you're getting with that steel. It's all pretty much not reloadable at the moment.
Yep.
So basically you can do, he goes, I'm not condoning this and neither are we, but you could get the velocities you want to out of that brass the same as the steel in one shot.
Yes. You lose the primer pocket.
You lose the primer pocket, you probably lose the brass, but you can do the same shit with brass, which I never really thought about.
And well, that being said, too, the bat actions are extremely overbuilt and able to handle. I mean, they're pressure testing these actions at twice the SAMMI spec. So we already know the action can handle it. So to your point, don't just say that I bought my Remington 700, 300 rum 15 years ago. I'm going to load it out to Jake's fucking load spec and it's going to be fine. That doesn't mean it's going to be fine.
Dude, we do not condone this whatsoever. If you do it, you are dumb.
Yes.
But there's a reason also why, on all my reading, why didn't they just come out with a 30-06 steel case and then you have freaking basically a 300 WSM or 300 Win Mag and a 30-06? Because there's a whole lot of actions out there that won't take that pressure.
Yeah.
So they can't just, you're going to throw it into an old freaking whatever action, military surplus, and then eat the bolt because it blew up. So that's the reason why they didn't go mainstream cases.
And higher pressure does mean less barrel life.
I like the way they're trying to get around that, but I don't see how.
They're trying to get around two things. The fact that the higher pressure and higher speed doesn't have a trade-off. And the second thing is the perceived recoil. Their words are perceived felt recoil is no different. How do you have, so the recoil felt is equal and opposite of the bullet's weight and velocity leaving the muzzle, right? Like all the energy goes out that way and then you feel the recoil on this side.
Physics.
How does that change? There is perceived felt recoil because of stock design, Maybe the stock's made of wood and it absorbs some that impulse a little bit. So there is some perceived recoil stuff, but it's not in the cartridge. It's in everything around the cartridge. So you can't just say the 7mm Backcountry has less perceivable recoil. That's the weapon system.
Enhance your shooting experience with STOCKY'S stocks. Are you tired of struggling with mediocre rifle stocks that hinder your performance? Imagine having a high-quality rifle stock that not only enhances your accuracy, but also provides superior strength and a lightweight build. STOCKY'S Stocks offers a wide range of premium rifle stocks manufactured with hand-lay-up carbon fiber construction, a patented carbon fiber AccuBlock, and multiple finish options. Whether you're a long-range shooter or a hunting enthusiast, our stocks are perfect for you. Experience unmatched precision and durability with STOCKY'S stocks. We provide stock installation instructions, technical support, and guidance to help you choose the right stock for your rifle. Upgrade your shooting game today with STOCKY'S stocks.
Let me ask you this question. They're claiming, and two of the companies I talked to said that they're not going to be a primer pocket because this is the question, is that still is taking that bolt thrust out by expansion. So you're not popping primers at that pressure because the steel case is expanding and taking the pressure. But two of the companies I talked to, they said that it pushed the primers not out of the back, but it pushed them backwards when they shot them. It pushed them out of the actual case, not fall out, but they were protruding from the case, which is interesting because they're claiming the reason that they can take it is that brass is absorbing, or the steel is absorbing it, and it doesn't have the bolt thrust of a traditional brass case. But it's interesting, those two companies said it was pushing that brass or that primer out.
Yeah.
So I think it's like, are they going to do like other companies do and the consumer is the tester? It kind of seems sort of maybe that way.
Well, they're coming to market. I don't know that all these rifle manufacturers have already started releasing. I think Savage was the only one. Somebody said, of course, there's a Savage available for it. I don't know if that's true or not. I didn't research, but there was a list of rifle manufacturers that seemed like they had agreed to chamber for it. Gunworks was one of them. Mm-hmm. But you're releasing a new cartridge without tooling, without a reloading process, without load data, and without a number of rifles that are already chambered in it. So we had a meeting with my team yesterday, and I knew it was coming out. So, of course, I told them for us, it's a no. It's a no for a lot of reasons.
How many people called in?
I think there was 3.
Okay.
There were 3 that already had builds in with us. They were trying to change from a 7 PRC to a 7 Backcountry. I don't know how many times we've preached on this podcast that you don't build a rifle unless you have access to good brass. 200 pieces is your number. Secure 200 pieces of good brass. That will last the life of your rifle. Then build a rifle, especially during the COVID times and everything else. So these guys are, first of all, the brass is unknown. If it's reloadable or not, or how consistent it is, or if it can even be done. That's an unknown right now because there's no real info.
Leaning to the side of no.
Leaning to the side of no based on history and experience.
Not consistent brass anyways.
Yeah.
Or consistent steel.
Yes, consistent steel. We got to start calling them casings.
Yes,
that's why
casing.
ADG calls them casing.
Yes, consistent casing.
Instead of brass. Yeah. And then there are barely any rifles out there. But this goes back to this is a production rifle, non-reloading, once in a while hunter that's going to buy this case, buy this new cartridge because they're comparing it to the ballistics of other cartridges, even though it's not the same. You can't compare a steel case to a brass case. It's not apples for apples. And then I read another part where Federal is advertising the effectivity of the case on elk at 1,000 yards. So now Federal is promoting killing elk at 1,000 yards, which is stirring up a whole nother group.
Which brings up a very interesting thing because all 4 people I talked to said the biggest issue is accuracy. Hard to get under. They had 3-shot groups. Rarely was it under 1 inch. When they went 5 or more, it was 2.5 or bigger. And they produced more than one. Most of them produced 2 to 3 rifles, multiple different actual loads. From Barnes to the Fusion to, I don't remember, I think it was their Terminal Ascent that Federal makes.
Yeah.
Nobody nobody's claimed great accuracy, which is another big problem.
I wonder if Altera chambered a rifle on their own to do this testing.
All of them. They chambered like 5.
Chambered 5 rifles.
4 or 5. And they've chambered their first one in June. So they did some shooting.
Coming from a similar business structure, not that, federal whatever contact us because we talk too much shit, but I wouldn't even have taken that project on. If they would have said, oh, we have this new steel case ammo, do you guys want to be a builder for that?
Well, it's the thing I fucking hate about the hunting industry, and it's in every industry, especially if you look at the, fake media. They don't want to be right. They want to be first. So all these companies are saying yes so they can suck that dick.
Yeah.
So they can suck that 7 backcountry wiener because they want to be first to talk about it. They don't care if it's good or right or better.
Yeah. That's not cool.
No, it's fucking
in fact, you were in our team meeting yesterday. I'm the exact opposite. I basically, it's in front of the whole team, I said, no, we don't do that.
No, and my biggest takeaway from all this is fucking weight.
Yeah.
Because look what the 277 Fury, how well is that? That was going to be the be all end all. Yeah. Where's it at now?
Yeah. It's the 80,000 PSI that makes me nervous from a business owner perspective. That basically stresses out and the non-reloadability. I mean, if you're looking out for your customer, like we would say all the same shit to a customer trying to build a custom rifle, there are better options. I can get you that same velocity out of the same barrel length with a different cartridge. Doesn't have to be this one. And this one you can reload and just move down the line about all the reasons why that would be better.
Did you see in all your research, because the one thing I asked them and I searched for, I could not get an actual piece of price for 20 pieces of freaking.
Yeah, it was 80. The highest end, it ranged from 60 to like 84. So $4 plus a piece.
So it's not like.
It's not horrible.
Not horrible.
No, it's not horrible.
Yeah.
But again, if you didn't get to reload, it's $4 every shot, no matter what. And
federal, has a problem with availability. Like, there's a lot of times you can't, like terminal ascents, you couldn't get them. People wanted to shoot that thing and they could not. And COVID was a factor, but it's availability and federal go hand in hand.
Yeah. So now you're looking at buying a rifle. A Savage might cost you what, $700, and then you're gonna need to buy about at least 500 rounds of ammo just to make sure you have ammo for it for the life of the rifle. This other guy had listed a whole. Must have been 15 different cartridges that have come and gone, like just in the recent years that were, big mainstream, big announcements and whatnot. And it was I didn't record the list, but there are cartridges that come and go. Huh?
Do you remember any of them?
308 Norma.
Yep.
But there was a big list. And basically what it comes down to is, ADG made that 6.8 Western brass. I think because it had enough popularity and they had enough requests, and we've sold the shit out of the brass. So they were right. But this entire case, this new cartridge is based off a steel case that nobody else is ever going to make. ADG is not all of a sudden going to change their production line and start making steel cases. It's not going to happen. Lapua is not going to make steel cases. Peterson is not going to make steel cases. Hornady. None of them are going to all of a sudden announce that, oh, you don't need to go to federal to get that steel case. We're making it too. That's how popular it is. No.
What's your 5-year thought process on where this will be?
I think it still has a market. They're going to come out with a 7 backcountry, a 30 backcountry, a 6.5 backcountry. They're going to come out with all these cases, and that's great. And I think there is a market for it, and Federal is in that market. They're in the market to sell ammunition, not components. And all of these rifle manufacturers that are going to get behind it, that's great, but you're going to go buy a production rifle and shoot ammo that you can't reload, and maybe the ballistics are 100 feet per second better than a different round in brass that you could reload. But I think they'll sell shit. They already are.
Yes, my prediction is you're right. It won't be as popular as they want it to be.
Not in the custom world.
No, it won't hit the people we talk to.
Yes,
it will not be mainstream with them, but I think it will be mainstream to. Like my Uncle Randy or somebody that's just going to buy it off the shelf, load it, and go shoot it.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the factor. I think if I was to predict, Notre Dame, the speeds are going to come down for accuracy.
Yes. Just
like in the Fury, the speeds came down for accuracy. And I don't think there's a way around that. I think they're like at the ragged edge of where the accuracy, if you believe in, I don't really believe in nodes, but I do believe sometimes speed is a factor. And I think they're going to have to play with that. And I think it's going to be, when the 7 PRC came out, they were almost claiming the same velocities. And maybe they can't get the powder, the Hornady can't get the powder they started with. But now if you compare it, it's like now the velocity they said it was like high 29s, and now it's like mid to low 28s for 7PRC with the one like a 175. I believe the 7 Backcountry will be the same thing. They're starting at 3 and it's going to come closer to that 29. So the gap is not going to be that big. So is that worth it? To me, I'm going to say the same thing. Wait. Don't be the tester. Wait.
6.8 Western was released on January 15th, 2021. People talk shit about it to this day. They were comparing 7 Backcountry to what happened to 6.8 Western. And I bring it up because ADG did choose to make brass for it. But again, that took 4 years exactly. And that's because it was a brass case and it gained some popularity. It filled a little bit of a niche. Not a huge one, but ADG stepped up and now there's quality brass for it. This is not going to happen with this one.
And the 6.8 Western, like the cell of brass, isn't going to be, in my opinion, isn't going to be popular because of the 6.8 Western. You can make some cool cases off of a 6.8 Western. With a 35-degree shoulder. There's a lot of wildcatting to be done with that case. I don't think there's going to be a whole fucking bunch of 6.8 Westerns built off that brass.
No.
So it'll be interesting.
Hi, I'm Brett Jarbo, CEO of ADG. For the past decade, we've been dedicated to crafting the highest quality, 100% American-made rifle brass to meet all your hunting and long-range shooting needs. This year, we're excited to introduce our new 6.8 Western and 270 WSM cases. With over 250 years of combined industry experience, we're committed to excellence. Look for our distinct orange boxes wherever you buy your reloading supplies. Whenever you need quality rifle cartridge cases, choose ADG Premium Rifle Brass, where precision meets performance.
We should take some of these questions off of the Instagram here since we did that. Okay. Okay, more or less gay than a 6.5 Creedmoor? Not at the same more.
Fuck, I don't know.
One guy said, one guy did a meme and it was 7mm broke backcountry. And it had them both fucking hugging.
You know, I say this like we both said that we hope this thing succeeds. And human nature is just to shit on something. But it's like so many things could have been put forth from federal.
Yes.
To me, this is it. This is what you decided to go with.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some engineers that had some fucking sweet ideas.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say gayer.
Gayer. One thing I should have brought up real quick too is don't mistake nickel-plated brass for steel casings.
Yes.
Because you might see a 6.8 West, you might see some rifle cartridge that is silver or chrome looking. That's nickel-plated brass. That is not steel.
One of the guys had a 280 Ackley with terminal ascent and a nickel-plated, and that one it looked fucking very similar.
They are very, very, very close.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. No Weatherby is gay. Only cucks buy their new shit. All right.
What does that have to do with the price of tea in China?
Will the steel case and high pressure design spill over into existing cartridges, 6 Creedmoor, etc.? I'll still say no, and we kind of proved that with Remington's fucking application from 1973 to make steel cases. It never caught on.
This just goes back to whoever makes the mono that can tumble every time wins. Whoever can make reloadable steel cases wins.
Or high pressure. It can be any metal.
True.
That
any
takes
metal.
higher pressure. But again, you're asking for an industry that's been here for 100 years to change around you.
Look at all of the other enhancements in technology gains since 1914.
Yeah.
You said that's when they started.
Yeah.
Germans. We're still at brass.
We're still in brass.
So there is a fucking problem there.
We're still at 65,000 PSI.
Until we have laser beams like fucking Star Wars, I don't know if there will be a huge jump.
I don't think so. Okay. Is brass really the limiting factor in chamber pressures, or are they just trying to do some marketing play? It's not it's like there's a delicate balance between barrel life and the amount of pressure that you want to come out of that case. Shoulder angle, powder composition, all these other things come into play, but I think it's barrel life in general, and I'd be interested to see how that goes for this new cartridge.
Read another thing. It's just things that pop into your brain. You said the only thing they solved is crushing shoulders.
There you go. Yeah, you're not going to crush a shoulder on this motherfucker, that's for sure. You're not going to do anything to the shoulder. What are the real world speeds you guys have gotten with that? Well, we've not done any personal testing, but I think there's some good,
very good data. Go look at Altera.
Outdoor Life, Altera.
Altera is the only one that, in my opinion, has done an honest assessment.
Yeah. Joseph Von Benedict will be pushing it hard if the price from Federal is right.
He's already pushing it hard.
Yes.
Because remember, they're not necessarily after the truth.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to be first.
Be first.
Yeah.
I love Federal. Case capacity, bolt face size, case dimensions, etc. I would compare this to a 7mm .6 or a 280 Ackley. Standard bolt face is what it is, and you can find dimensions and things like that. But there's no load data really out there because nobody's loaded it because it's not yet known if it can be reloaded.
And like sex appeal, it's a sexy looking case.
Yep. How does it compare to a 7SAUM Improved Plus P? Again, we'll just go down the range of thinking about the cartridge as the horsepower. And with a barrel length change, you can make anything do almost anything.
That would probably be similar.
7SAUM Improved Plus P, yes.
The 7SAUM Improved would be slower, but it'd be close.
Yeah, so just so you guys know, that is moving to a Magnum bolt face, short Magnum cartridge, improved shoulder to 40 degree, and then the Plus P is worth another 100 to 150 feet per second.
More powder for sure.
More powder. Couldn't a steel casing for an existing cartridge and a fast powder do the same thing?
But there isn't a steel case.
But they're not allowed to do that. So that was a good point that was being made. They had to come out with a new cartridge completely because you can't redo a SAMMI spec to reach that pressure. The SAMMI spec includes a maximum pressure. So it has to be something new. And again, that 7mm Backcountry is not SAMMI approved, and who knows if it would be.
And you can't just randomly, there's too many actions out there for standard cases.
You have to tell me that Federal has enough fucking power and political power within this industry to get something SAMMI approved if it was possible before they announce the fucking cartridge.
I like, the more I know about SAMMI, like talking to Mark, the less I know about SAMMI.
Well, Federal, dude, Federal's got to sit at the fucking table.
Oh, fuck yeah.
There's no way they're not.
They absolutely are a powerhouse.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the fact that they couldn't get it SAMMI approved before announcement just goes to tell you whether or not it probably can't be approved.
The way I understand SAMMI, they can't.
Yes.
It couldn't happen.
Yeah. If Federal applies these same principles to a 6mm, would it be a factory competitor to 6UM? Again, we can't compare steel cases to brass cases. This is not a...
Well, wait. If you're asking me, I could dump a lot of powder. I could put 5 more fucking preg grains of 570 in there, and we're talking...
One shot wonder, baby.
It's back to the 300 Ultra Jake built.
I guess that would be apples for apples, like you're saying. If we bring the pressure up to 80,000 PSI.
Have it in a good action.
Yep.
Have good ADG brass.
Yep.
We could do it.
Then they would match.
Yep.
Yes.
And I'll take the accuracy off that brass case.
Why is it just the 7PRC renamed? It's definitely not. I think you guys have learned that by the one.
Yeah, I keep seeing that. It's not the same.
Yeah. Is it gayer than AIDS?
No, AIDS is pretty gay.
This is a common saying of yours, gayer than AIDS. So you're kind of the expert to be.
I would like to know who fucking.
Barrett 283. We're calling you out.
I don't know Barrett.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe
Barrett.
I do. I just don't know that username. It's probably gayer, like we talked about 6.5 Creed, but it's probably not gayer than AIDS.
AIDS is pretty gay.
Yeah.
Like you literally have to be gay, at least the way I understand it. I'm not a gay.
You know the joke, right? Remember the joke, right?
No, go.
What are the first symptoms of AIDS? Pounding sensation in your ass.
Oh my God. I've never had that happen. So, all right. Why does the internet already hate it so much, and why does Federal suck at new cartridges?
People hate to hate. They just like to hate. Like I said, and it sounds like we are shitting on this. We're trying to give you, from our two knowledge, our two brains, what we think. But I don't hate this cartridge. We've said from the beginning, I hope it's a fucking raving success. Mm-hmm. But fuck, man, if it was reloadable, which they've had multiple years to get it reloadable, I do not think it'll be reloadable, which pretty much kills the cartridge in my opinion. Yeah. For most people buying it in our genre.
Like you said, if Federal had this budget to come out with some new shit, they need to start moving outside of whatever it is this engineering group, design idea group they have is. They got to start moving outside of that a little bit.
Like I said, I'm only guessing that this was part of the deal when the Fury came out. I'm sure Federal had a seat at the table.
Yeah.
This isn't new to them.
Like there's a reason why they pre-screen movies before they release them.
Yes.
You guys needed to pre-screen this shit.
Yeah, and it's like, you fucking know the answer on that reloading.
Yep.
You already know it, but you're fucking playing smoke and mirrors to sell it.
Yep.
And then you went and got all these yes men, which they are.
Like how long does it take to make a fucking die? Like and test the resizing of your own case. If we had to, we could make a die here.
There's no, This company has a lot of fucking money.
Yes, that's
They
that's
can
what I'm
do
saying.
this shit.
Yeah, you ain't got a CNC out back and you can't have your engineer whip some shit up real quick.
So that would tell me again, this thing is not reloadable.
Yeah. Dude, in this building, we can go from some stupid ass idea to concept to prototype to retail, inside of a fucking couple weeks.
We can blow up a suppressor in a week.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Anyways, reloading the steel case can it be done? I think we kind of beat that one up already. Reloading a steel allocate. Yeah. Same thing. Chambers deal with pressure as much as brass is 80,000 PSI safe. No, actions and things that are existent today are not designed to support 80,000 PSI. And I think it was Seekins that already came out and said, we have to redesign our action in order to support that pressure.
I fucking love Tikas. I ain't fucking putting this in no Tika.
Yeah.
It ain't going to hold it. I would not want to live
maybe
off
in
the
the
difference.
Raven.
I never heard of it.
Yes. You will soon, sir. Is it too late to change my build from a 6UM to a 7 Backcountry? Ha, just kidding. Thanks for adding that just kidding on there.
That's funny.
Do we see 6.5 and 30 cal come from Federal next? I fucking absolutely believe so.
1,000%.
Yeah. Is all steel brass the future, or is what SIG did with 277 Fury the future? As far as it being a brass case with a steel case head.
I don't know if, like we talked about earlier, I don't know if the hybrid idea is the best idea I've seen. You said it will be something. It may not be steel, but it'll be something harder than brass.
Something will come out. I mean, so I don't remember the name of the company. They're pretty freaking big because of the polymer case, the polymer housing deal. What was that called? The plastic fucking ammo.
Oh shit. Let
me see, plastic ammo.
Yeah, I know what you're talking
They
about.
were completely funded by military money. Plastic ammo.
They're
True
white.
Velocity.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're white.
So they were
cases.
making the polymer cases. Obviously, they were single use, but the pitch there was to make soldiers lighter with their ammo load. I don't know how much they lightened them up by, but that was one of the big selling points. But so that's already been tried too. I mean, I believe True Velocity. I don't know if they're still selling ammo or what the situation is, but I'm sure that millions and millions of dollars were dumped into that project.
Interesting.
What's the deal with reloading the brass? Well, we've talked about that. Didn't SIG already try this? Yes. How many FUDs are going to buy a rifle before ammo is available? Let's see. No different than loading anything to 80,000 PSI. High performance, high chances of losing my face. You're absolutely right. Is this hand loader friendly or factory only? Factory only for now. Any reason to shoot a 7mm over a 6.5 or a 6mm hunting elk to 1200?
Well, yeah. Yeah, you don't want a 6 Creedmoor is not a rifle I'd use for 1,200 yard elk. I love a 6 Creedmoor.
But a 28 Nosser would be.
28 Nosser, 6UM. I would shoot an elk at 1,200 yards.
That's a big difference.
6UM in the right conditions. Yeah, you have to get the bullet. We've done all this. There's many podcasts about this. You have to hit the bullet that gets the muzzle velocity that gets you your terminal performance. It's easy to calculate. There's a million different calculators out there.
Not energy. We're looking for bullet expansion.
Energy. No.
Yeah.
And we're looking for a bullet that'll expand and fucking do damage at 1,200 yards.
Is it true that anyone who shoots a 7mm anything might suck a dick? These listeners are
This goes back to,
oh man.
I did see that they did load it in the gayest bullet 7mm make, which made my hatred for 7mm is the 195 EOL.
Yes.
Terrible bullet. Don't use it.
Yeah. Will the 7mm Brokeback wallop elk from straight to gay faster than Grandpappy's 300 mag?
Oh.
Yeah. The reloading process for the brass, they seem to be very short on details about specifics. I think you've answered your own question there. Reloading differences with the new case material versus brass annealing sizing, etc. We're beating that up already. Yes, a hybrid 6 arc sized case running 6 Creed velocities. Honest opinion, is it redundant and useless or does it have merit? Why not use the tech for existing cartridges?
There's a buyer out there for it, but it's not for everybody.
Yes.
I would say it's not for most.
Yeah. How can the claim of no change in felt recoil be possible? More velocity has to equal more recoil, yeah.
That's the biggest thing that those, I'll withhold judgment till I shoot it, but physics are physics. Oh, it doesn't have near as much recoil as a 7PRC. Bullshit.
Well, again, we talked about you can't, the felt recoil versus real recoil does not come from the cartridge and the bullet itself. That comes from the weapon system. In other words, if you just have a cartridge and a bullet, and there's 195 grains going this way at 3,000 feet per second, it is an equal and opposite force going this way. When you just talk about the cartridge and the bullet, everything around it could potentially reduce the felt recoil, but that is not the fucking cartridge. So that is a rifle builder's marketing scheme to reduce felt recoil, not an ammunition manufacturer.
Somebody said if I put my shoes on and drop kicked you in the chest, it'd feel just like I put my boots on and drop kicked you in the chest.
That'll work. Okay. High pressure recoil. How do you reload a steel case? Steel case, blah, blah, blah. A lot of steel case reloading questions.
Yeah.
Do you think there'll be inherent accuracy issues?
This is the 2 reasons I would wait.
Yes.
Let's see what accuracy was. These people shot this gun. I'm not saying that just from my experience. This is what they told me. I trust them. There are accuracy issues. 4 different gun builders tell me this.
Yep.
And reloading. That's why I would not buy this for at least 18 to 2 years.
So did Altera say they decided not to go with it?
They didn't say much, but they did say that their stuff is, and they proved it. They've kind of put it against the Wes. It's a great video.
Yeah.
They put a Wes against it at 800 yards with their stuff and with their ammo, and then Federal's ammo. And it was like, I think it was like a 66% hit probability, 800 yards with their ammo, and it's a 23% with Federal's ammo. I didn't sound like, I can't speak for them, didn't sound like they were real high on it. And like everybody else was just saying, yes, this is the greatest thing ever. And they were like, wait, hold on, there's issues here.
Yeah. Okay. Why Federal fucks up all of the cartridge releases they do, typically dumpster fires. All right.
They listened to the wrong people.
If you were building a 7mm rifle, do you choose the PRC or Backcountry? We do not choose the Backcountry.
I would choose the 7 PRC every time.
With Backcountry in the name, will it inherently deliver enough wallop? Is there really a need for another 7mm? Well, bets on how fast it flops. 277 Fury, fast or slightly slower than like the 6.8 Western.
Wow, they hit all of our high points right there.
Yeah, they did.
Like we said at the beginning, if the 277 Fury was the shit, everybody would have this in every freaking caliber case. It would be mainstream, and it's not.
No.
Why will that's reloadable? The 277 Fury is reloadable.
Yep.
The Backcountry's not. So you tell me, who's going to support it?
Yep. I don't think anybody. What's the purpose and where do you feel it falls between 280 Ackley and 7 PRC in usefulness?
Well, I would say wait and see where the velocities actually lie. Because I think you're going to see that it's really fucking close to a 7 PRC.
This is a good question. How are suppressors going to handle the additional high pressure?
That was my number one question to all of them. And nobody used a suppressor outside of the one on Outdoor Life.
Yep.
And there's no fucking way that some of them are going to take it.
Well, I mean, from a soon to be suppressor manufacturing perspective, we're not going to know if somebody decided to shoot 80,000 PSI ammo through it. We're never going to know. But suppressors are not designed for that pressure, just like actions.
No, and then you don't know that barrel length because there's a big difference between a 24-inch of this and a 16-inch.
Yeah, and they're boasting 20-inch on everything, all their numbers.
I'll tell you this, just going from a 20-inch to a 16.5-inch 6UM, I blew up 3 fucking suppressors.
Yeah.
So there is a huge difference in pressure.
But I would be concerned, and that's a great pressure, or a great question. That means you're thinking about it correctly. Do they think it's as gay as I do? Well, when will this technology be applied to current cartridges? Anyone like ADG working on it? Definitely not.
Not anytime soon.
Nope. Sounds like the sequel to Brokeback Mountain.
Jesus, people out there fucking.
I just want to know if the fucking Amish will shoot that motherfucker.
What?
That's in the fucking. That's in the intro.
Yeah.
We were looking at that elk.
You know what's funny about the Amish and then some of the Mennonites or Hutterites you have as customers?
Yeah.
They might.
They might.
They're on the cutting edge of a lot of shit that's funny.
That's true. It's true. Peak alloy 6UM case. 115s at 3500.
I'm sure I can get a 20-inch barrel at 3500 one shot. Oh, we did. We got it to 3560 or 3460.
That was the very first load.
Yep.
We filled it all the way up.
Yep. Basically, you just top it off with 570.
Hey, it was fine.
Stuff a bullet in there.
It was fine.
We lived, and that was an Atika.
Yep.
Yep.
So we know it can handle the pressure. That's probably close to 80,000.
Yeah, I wonder what that would be.
We don't recommend doing that though.
One shot, one kill.
That's right. It says, how much N570 should I put in there? Fill that motherfucker up.
Okay, so think about it. This is coming from a reloading company, which they don't do this normally. Let me tell you. It's pretty fucking, they're pretty SOP'd up here. But I said, Jake, how much? We don't know shit about the 6UM. Well, just top it off and shove the bullet on there.
That was from experience, though. So most of the time, N570 loves an overfull case, and it's almost like you can't, as long as you're putting it in the right type of overbore cartridge case. So that's very overbore. So the case width compared to the bullet caliber. So that's overbore like a 28 nozzler. You can fill a 28 nozzler up to the top of the N570, and yeah, it might be a little bit of pressure, but you ain't gonna blow nothing up.
And it was 3460, and it was a hard bolt lift, but it wasn't a ridiculous bolt lift.
Yeah.
There you go.
But we wanted more than 100 round barrel life.
Yeah.
Could this case material become a Magnum 6mm in the future?
I'm sure they're going to try.
I want to hear Ryan say he loves the backcountry and 195 EOLs. You've already said that. So we covered that. Can we improve it with a plus P?
That's a fucking good question, dude.
Yep.
Here's the thing I think is going to happen. You knock off some, you may knock off some riflings. You may knock off some rifling.
Yes.
The second or third shot.
Yes. Neck it down to 6mm and call it the 6 MAGA. Make
like
America
it.
great again.
Just can't reload it, so it's pretty much worthless.
Did Federal release this to try and win the race to the bottom with Winchester and the 6.8 Western? Good Lord.
But people hate that 6.8 Western. It's a case that's, I don't know why.
Well, it was pitched the same way. Like everybody, this is like the media lying to you for so long. At some point, you get to there where like you're marketing this fucking cartridge telling me it's the best shit since sliced bread, and then it flops.
Do you remember? I can't remember the hubbub. Like, was there a whole bunch of fucking marketing like this? I don't remember that.
Well, it was a similar situation where it was a factory gun with factory ammo. So we have people that email still today, do you load 6.8 Western ammo? And we do now because of the brass availability, but
as soon as 6.8, 270, I was like, no.
Basically a 270 WSM. You have a buddy who's a big fan of that.
Oh, fucking Robbie loves that 270. Yeah. Who told? I like to be in that marketing room, right?
Yeah.
What should we make? Oh, a 270.
Yeah. That should be exactly what we focus on.
But we'll call it the 6.8.
Yeah.
We'll trick people.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, pretty much all these questions are the same after that. Another Joseph von Benedict attack on formed small cartridges. It sounds like a dumb, non-reloadable round that won't get any traction. How long till we get a short action Magnum using the steel case pressures that push vellets very fast? Wouldn't a 284 Terminator be better? Reloading.
284 Terminator from Carlock?
Yeah.
Yes. Be a lot better.
Have you actually shot it? How was the recoil?
Nope, haven't shot it.
No. What beats it? Is it a steel case? How would you reload that? Just why? Preferred bullets. Any reason to go 7mm when XO kills with a 6 Creed?
Shit, we even take on Rockslide, go look at the 6 Creed 243 Death Thread. No.
That was it. That was about a bajillion questions there.
Well,
a lot of reloading questions though, which just goes to tell you that's the crowd that's listening.
What is your final thoughts
on this?
The 7 Backcountry. Its long-term future, and do you think will jump into other cases?
They'll sell a little bit of shit. There'll be ammo shortages. Guys will get upset. Guys will email here asking if we load 7mm Backcountry or 30 Backcountry or 6.5 Backcountry, and it's always going to be a no. They're going to ask if we're going to build a rifle in it. It's always going to be a no. This will not be the last company that attempts a steel case cartridge. I think that companies are always trying to innovate, and maybe that comes from military requirements and things like that, whether it be plastic ammo from True Velocity or steel case ammo from Federal, or Remington filing their patent way back in 1973. Maybe there was a request back then. I think it's a good thing that companies continue trying to innovate. I mean, we're all trying to do that, right? We're all trying to find the next best thing or one up the next guy. And that's great for business, because if you didn't have innovation and competition, we wouldn't have the things that we have today. So all that being said, I mean, I guess you could give Federal kudos for putting themselves out there and giving something a shot. I don't think the entire market is ready to be retrained and rebuilt on a new Pressure Max. It's too much. It's like the training alone, the everything having to be rebuilt, like Seekins actions and so on. It's a big giant move, and I don't know that it's worth the bang. You know, is it worth 100 feet per second per cartridge to reinvent the entire system?
Yes. You know, the whole question is they spent a grip of money. Just not even.
You're probably right with the military part. They had already spent it, and then they're trying to recoup some of their money because they didn't win no contracts or nothing.
Then they doubled down because all this ammo, reamer, more R&D. If all those manufacturers have reamers, they spent a grip of money to send that out. I don't know if they made them buy their reamers, but I doubt they did. They definitely didn't make them buy the ammo. So they doubled down on it. And my thing is the two biggest like black eyes that I'd watch for is accuracy. I've had 4 companies tell me this thing ain't overly accurate. That means they're going to have to bring the speed down. And if you can't reload it, you literally are talking to like, let's say 20% of the market, maybe. You get more recoil. They've already proved that it's going to be more expensive to buy. The availability is probably going to be really sucky at first, if not forever. Manufacturers, I don't think are going to mainstream adopt it after this initial launch. So you're not going to be able to get it from Unknown Munitions or whoever. So I just don't see, unless something drastically changes and we were wrong as hell about the reloading, I don't think in 5 years we'll even talk about it. I don't think in 3 years we're going to talk about it.
There's always going to be physics involved. There's always going to be a certain pressure you don't want to go over. There's going to be a certain RPM you don't want to spin bullets over. There are a lot of specifics that come down to physics that are prevent things from getting much better than they are. And how much improvement are you really looking for? There are ways to get a little bit more velocity out of your bullet. There are ways to drop the weight of your rifle just a little bit. I mean, just depends on what you're looking for, but I wouldn't stress over 100 feet per second.
No.
There's ways to get there.
And the precision's already out there. We already have it. And people this goes to like ethics, and I hate talking about ethics, but people are already shooting farther than they should be. And then you have a company come out and double down. I didn't even know what you said about elk.
The 1,000 yards. So they're showing these graphs and shit, like with an elk, and then the 1,000 yards, and they're showing basically just the ballistic difference because of velocity between shooting this cartridge, or this cartridge with the same bullet. And their line is, of course, on the top because it's flatter, because it's faster. And yeah, and it has 1,000 yard with the elk deal. And people are talking shit about that.
So instead of going down this road, go buy a 223. Go shooting. We're going to do, the whole company here is going to do the circle drill.
Yeah.
And it's going to tell us where we stand. And this is a very good cross section because these guys are technically in the hunting industry.
Yeah.
They're in the shooting sports industry. And
they carry every day.
They carry every day.
They shoot rifles here a lot. And
we're going to go see how much they suck. And this is a cross section of all this industry.
Yeah.
I would much rather see you spend money on 223, 6 Creed, buy a pile of ammo and go learn how to shoot it than to buy a backcountry and shoot it 10 times a year, blow a fucking elk's leg off and be in that camp.
Broke backcountry.
The broke backcountry.
I liked that.
And I say all this wrapping up from my side. I hope this thing is awesome because somebody's employment is on the line here. And they are going to get shit canned if this doesn't take off. Probably multiple people. So I really do hope it works. But for me, I'm a no accuracy reloading.
And for those of you that are even listening to this and you're really serious about buying it, just don't buy the rifle until you get a few boxes of ammo.
Yes. And wait.
Yeah.
Wait. What does it matter if you're on the fence and you don't have a rifle now? I guess you're in a no-win situation, but wait a year. See how it shakes out.
Yeah.
You might be really happy. And we're putting this into the history books with this podcast. We may look like two dumb motherfuckers and this is the greatest cartridge ever invented.
I hope so.
But I would take a bet that it wouldn't be.
Yep.
So.
That's it.
Thanks for listening.